Welcome to the I Told You podcast season 2 finale. I am J. Marcelo Vaquero Alvarez, and this is not the podcast for snowflakes. So, this entire season 2 has been about understanding and identifying the insider threats. And this is also going to help you put all those lessons together that we've been talking about in the last several episodes. So, in today's topic, to bring it all to closure, are you a victim of propaganda? This episode is about introspection and to help others to gain the same introspection in case they have actually fallen into this trap. Like, for example, people that they were born into communism in Cuba, whenever it started for such a long time. Even if you're in your 50s, that's all you know. Even if you're older, that's all you know. So you wouldn't really know what is a different style of governance rather than the one that is actually pressed upon you. And that is something that we can actually see with a vantage point, but not everybody actually gets to see that because geopolitical situations tend to be very complex, and a lot of people, they just don't really want to understand that. All right. So this is going to be more of a feel-good episode, and generally speaking, if you compare it to the other things, because it still is going to make you ponder about a whole bunch of other things that are skewed. But you have to understand that there is a game that is being played against you, and the tables have been tilted against us, not just you and I, but pretty much everybody else who doesn't have like tons of money. So, and I have been able to somehow get into that club of placement and access that are in those very, very high elites. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about that. So I don't know how long this episode is going to be, but since it is a season finale, it might actually be a little bit longer than usual, but it is what it is. In any case, you're welcome to just stop every little bit of time that you need to, if you have to, and continue listening all the way to the end. Just don't miss it, because all these things that I'm telling you, I'm not telling you for my health, okay? I'm telling you because I know this stuff, but you need to know it as well in order for you to be ahead of all these problems that we are seeing. All right, so the problem is that, as I say, the game is rigged. We are not actually playing under the same rules. There's a lot of people who actually are trying to take advantage of us, and a lot of us don't really realize it. And whenever you start realizing, it's going to make you feel pretty bad, okay? It's going to be shitty. And that is the reality, because they're actually playing with your feelings and they're exploiting you. That is how it happened, all right? So guess what? Get over it, okay? Yeah, life is not fair. You don't get what you want. You don't get what you deserve a lot of times. You get what you negotiate. All right, let me say that again. You don't get what you want normally. Sometimes you just get what you negotiate. And this negotiation is what we are talking about in this episode, because you have to really understand how this game is also being played against you without even you really realizing what are the rules to the game, or what is the fine print, or what is the other things that they're actually hiding from you, because there's a lot of different complexity that makes it a lot harder for you to be able to win when the rules are rigged against you, okay? And that's what we've been seeing, but we're so used to it. We're talking for decades. If you are 50 years old, this shit has been starting way before that. Even if you were 70 years old, that shit's been going on even before that, okay? So most of us, we were born into this reality, and it's been changing little by little, but a lot of people, they don't really realize it. And yes, it is going to be a little bit of a mind fog. You can say, like, is my whole life a lie? Yeah, kind of it is in a way, but you can now do something to take control, because the problem is that before, for a very long time, is that people that were not really showing it in a cavalier way, that they were like so pretty much not taking over your lives. That has changed. They don't give a shit anymore, and they're showing it in such a cavalier way that the level of lies that they were telling you, they're just getting worse and worse and worse, and people are getting more and more naive because they just so happen to like the person that is telling these lies. That's a cult of personality. It takes a lot of years and a lot of steps in order for you to get to that point, particularly the person that is between both your ears. Sometimes they tend to be your worst enemy. So that has been going on for a while, and now they can be more cavalier about that. And that's why some of this stuff, it's probably going to be hitting you like a brick wall, but it is what it is. So now I'm going to teach you how to get out of it. All right. Remember, and I told you this in previous episodes, and I even created certain videos about that. All right. For you to understand how the trick played upon you works. It's actually really simple when you understand this. Authoritarians always redact the truth. That is why the way that they frame the questions, it's more important than the question itself. It is part of this storytelling. They're telling you stories, something for you to believe. And I'm going to start giving you an example about how that actually works, okay? But remember, they redact the truth because if they tell you the entire premise in context, then they're going to realize that you are not going to probably be as stupid as to believe the shit that they're telling you. Does that make sense? In other words, just like if you go to a show and there's an illusionist and they're making a magic trick in front of you, you get to see what the audience is allowed to see. You don't get to see what the illusionist is doing behind that or to see how the trick is actually being performed. You understand? Same thing when it is a swindle, okay? Somebody's going to con you, they're going to scam you. They're not going to be telling you right up front, hey, these are the steps of the scam or how the scam works. They're going to be telling you the things that sounds enticing to you to make you feel safe and like you are the smartest person for following their steps that they're giving you, that they're predetermined for you to actually follow that and make you feel like you're figuring out some shit. Yeah, they don't tell you how the entire process works where they're scamming you. So that is how it's been working for a very, very long time. And the problem is that a lot of people who are actually part of this scam, they don't even know that they're part of the scam. In other words, they're just pawns to the game. They're also being played in some way to make them believe that they're so smart. And when they think that they're so smart, then they become cynical and they actually become the muscle to whoever this scammer is scamming somebody else, including the person who's being the cynical asshole, right? So that's how it works. It is mind-bending. It sucks. That is the reality. That's why I'm teaching you something, okay? So please pay attention to everything that I'm telling you, all right? Because I do this for you. I already know the shit. You need to know that because this is a team effort, all right? So let me give you an example as far as how it is when people are framing the questions. It's going to be pretty on the nose. And whenever I used to teach people about this exact way, to understand how the framing of the question can be so dangerous and how it can actually start hitting certain very visceral and emotional responses on a person, how it actually works. Okay. So my example is going to be very on the nose. Okay. I don't think that anybody here in my audience, well, hopefully, is actually guilty of this thing. Okay. But what if I actually go and look at you in the eye and I ask you, hey, when are you going to stop beating up your spouse? Even if you haven't done it, okay? Now, if I tell you, with the same tenor, with the same way, in the same way, that I just like frame that, it's going to create different responses because what's the first thing that's going to be coming in your head? It's like, oh, shit. There's probably a lot of incriminating text messages and there's like some voicemails and somebody witnessed some argument that we have, or we had like some type of fight, or there's a mortgage and there is like car payments and that time that I was cheating, how do they know? It's going to be a mini panic. There's going to be like a lot of things that are going to be hitting that person based on their circumstances. For some people who have never beat their spouse, okay, yeah, I've never, that's an easy question. Yeah, I've never done that. But for some people who probably had been into a very serious argument, or that they actually have been either the perpetrators or victims of the domestic violence factors, I'm not just saying, like somebody actually beating up, but whatever is that leading to that or that is getting very close to that, they're going to start freaking out because the visceral response is going to start pretty much sending all kinds of crazy signals into the brain, and they're just going to be going in overdrive. In propaganda, it's very similar, but it's not so much on the nose, all right? So they're going to be framing certain questions in some way that is going to be hitting you certain places that either is going to be wanting you to be that knight in shining armor that say, okay, I'm going to be saving the day and I'm going to be the hero, or is going to put you in a position that you're going to be losing your will to fight. It's like, oh, you got some shit on me. Yeah, I'm not even going to be trying to talk shit to anybody else because I'm going to be in trouble. So I don't want to be doing that. So that is the reality. Okay, how you frame the question is going to be more important even than the question itself. Because remember, people a lot of times they don't really realize about what is the context of the words that you're saying. They're going to be thinking more about how it makes you feel. Okay, so it's about that feeling, that visceral response. That is what they're after. Okay, that is how it starts getting to your mind. That's how it goes from the short-term memory to your long-term memory and becomes a part of you. is that feeling. Okay, that's why you like certain songs and they just become part of you. Okay, or you like certain movies or certain TV shows and they become part of you. Okay, because it's that feeling that is evoking inside you. All right. So when your message is hijacked in some way, it's as I say, it's not just because people understand the message. It's how it makes them feel. Okay, and I keep repeating this thing for a reason. Okay, because those feelings, that visceral response, that emotional response, is incredibly powerful because a person starts getting very enamored with whatever they want to be right. And whenever they want to be right about something, then the rationality is the first shit that goes. Okay. So like, poof, rationality, making sense, like even if you know that you're wrong, yeah, they don't even care. And it's like this meme that some people, they're just stupid. Yeah, I knew that I was wrong 20 minutes ago. Now I just want to piss you off. That is the fucking stupidest thing that any person is going to be able to do. Because if you double down on something that you know that is wrong, you're a fucking idiot. That is the bottom line. It's not a win. You're not winning on the other person. When you're being like that, you're just being a fucking idiot. And it's going to come to haunt you because that means that you're more vulnerable for somebody else who already realized that you are that person. So instead of actually trying to piss you off, maybe they're going to be using some adulation. They're going to be using a different type of response in order for you to essentially just turn into an enemy of your own principles. You're going to be essentially self-sabotaging. You just don't realize that because when they give you adulation, then you think that, okay, I am the smartest person and everybody else that is telling me they are against me, but I am against them and I'm holding my own or whatever, it's like the vindication that they want to push on you. Again, it's going to be like they are the evil and you are the righteous one. And yeah, sometimes, it's going to be feeling like it sounds insane, but it is because they are not really going behind the point of your rationality. They are going behind the point of your visceral responses, your emotional explosive behavior that is going to either make you shut down and not fight whatever feeling that you have, or become cynical against whoever is actually trying to help you. In other words, at that point, the correct answer becomes counterintuitive. All right. So that's why you see a lot of the MAGA people that they feel super offended whenever you talk shit about Trump or any of his acolytes that are in his orbits. And they will lash at you in social media or in person or whatever, the case. And if you were best friends, they stop talking to you. If they were your bosses, they start pretty much making your life a living hell at work. Or if you were subordinating to that position, you might actually start getting very snappy and tell everybody not to go fuck themselves or whatever, the situation is going to be presented in front of you. Or if you are the person who is compromised emotionally, you are going to be lashing out. It didn't matter if you liked them before. It didn't matter if you were friends. It didn't matter what it was, the other thing. Burn the bridges, because how dare you talk bad about Trump or his acolytes? So the reason is because, yeah, they want you to fight. The people who are actually enticing the MAGA people to push those messages, they want you to fight with everybody else. Why? Because like same thing like when you're in a cult, what's the first thing that a cult does? They push you away from the people that are going to be pushing you away from the cult. Why? Because it is inconvenient to the cult. The cult wants control. They want to control your actions and your way of thinking and the way of you rationalizing whatever situation that is in front of you. That's how it works, okay? So they want you to believe that you are the good and everybody else is suppressive. Everybody else is a bad person. Everybody else who doesn't believe in the dear leader is the bad person. There's a reason for that, okay? Because the problem is that at some point, also people are going to be feeling incredibly angry about lashing out to somebody else that's pushing them now, pushing them away from this cult or behavior. Why is that? Because they also feel the unsettlement too, like deep inside somewhere, we all have like these kind of like, you're going in the right direction or the wrong direction. And when you're going into the wrong direction, somebody, pushes you. It's like, hey, that's the wrong direction. What's the first thing? Fuck you. What are you doing? You just don't want to hear, it gets you angry, gets you pissed off. You're not really pissed off at the other person necessarily as much as you're pissed off at yourself. And you are not ready for somebody to actually push that in front of you, because now you actually have to confront all those feelings and all those doubts and all this other shit, that happens is going to be very hard for you to confront. So what is the easiest? What is the easiest situation for you then to try to gravitate towards? Not you, but just anybody else, human nature. go back to the echo chamber. Yeah, where everybody else, okay, it's like this argument for pretty much everybody else that believes the same shit. Yeah, they cannot all be wrong, right? Mom, dad, Uncle Timmy, and my pastor, and my friends, and everybody else, they all feel the same way. They cannot all be wrong, right? I mean, they're getting a little bit more like cookie lady, but we're all getting, to the same point. So yeah, that must be right. Well, this is the easy way for you to know if you're actually on the wrong side or the right side. If it is divisive, if it is actually trying to push people away and trying to impose your will onto other people whenever your rights end, the other person's rights begin. Okay, if you start breaching that, yeah, at that point, then you are being subversive. And that is even if you're quote unquote the good person. Okay. So for example, if somebody tells you to start hating gay people, okay, and don't let them have a relationship between two consenting adults, that's none of your fucking business. If you're preventing that to somebody else, now you're overreaching on somebody else. Now, if that would be the other way around, like gay people are forcing straight people to get married, that would be an overreach at that point, but that is not happening. Okay. You understand? So, okay. So hopefully you understand the difference, because a lot of people don't fucking seem to understand that. But you have to understand that sometimes you're going to be the person who thinks that is the correct one, but you're actually the villain on the movie. You just haven't gotten the character arc. You haven't actually realized it. Okay, so that's why I'm hopefully going to teach you here. You're going to be able to use these tools to teach somebody else who's in the same situation. Okay. Because they don't want to accept it. There's a reason why they don't want to do it. Because if they accept one mistake, especially in a figure that they respect or they are being led to be enamored, then they have to contend with all the other things that they know they're wrong and they're not ready. Some of them, they would rather fucking die than to actually accept that. And sadly, that is probably what is going to be the case. But you cannot condone it. If you're correct, the facts don't care about your opinions, okay? The facts are what they are, okay? If you don't believe in gravity and you jump off a fucking building, you're going to figure out that it's not the speed at which one you are falling necessarily what kills you, but the sudden stop. All right. That is what's going to kill you. Understand? Okay. And how that happens? Because of gravity. Okay. So it's not if you understand or you don't understand, it still is going to affect you regardless. Okay. So that's also the problem, because there are tons of Trump-like leaders and swindlers in many different levels of government and the media and all that ecosystem. And that is around the world, okay? There's a whole bunch of them. They're all useful fools. All of them. Every last one of them. They're all useful for an authoritarian propagandist. They are all subordinate to somebody else, even if they don't realize it. Now, the best way to actually make somebody subordinate, particularly if they have a bombastic personality, is to make them believe that they're in charge. Sure, you're in charge. Yeah, here's the steering wheel. You're driving. Yeah, you're in charge, buddy. But you're not. You're not in charge. They're not going to tell you that part. Say like when say like, yo, yeah, you have that. But what is that they're doing? They're planting certain quote unquote ideas in their head to make them believe that they're in charge. And in some instances, it could be that say, hey, I'm giving you this position, but you do what I tell you to do. And if you don't do it, I have an offer that you cannot refuse. Meaning that either you do what I tell you, or that is the last way that you're going to be existing in this planet, okay? And that is sadly what has been going on for a very long time. Now, a lot of times we don't actually get to see that because we're not actually invited to those clubs. The good news, we are more. The regular people. There's a lot more of us that are not in that club, so that means that we actually have control. They need us. We don't need them, okay? So keep that in mind as we continue talking over here, right? Because this is the thing. Any authoritarian regime around the world, okay, and there's a whole bunch of them now, okay, and they continue growing pretty much every other month. You need to understand, okay, they want an authoritarian model, so whoever is like the greater authoritarians, okay, so there's some that control everybody else, right? They want to instill that authoritarian status quo around the world, okay? Right now, the USA is not perfect, okay? We are far from perfect. We all have room for improvement. That is fine, okay? But we're still the number one nation. We're still the leader in the planet. They don't want that. They call us the empire. They want to crumble the USA any way that they can do it, all right? So they understand that. So they can put the status quo that is authoritarian, whatever there's no checks and balances. That's why they create all these circus that we see in Congress. That's why they create all these rubber stamps. That's why they prop all these other people who are fucking stupid, and they give them a tons of money and give them tons of likes and help them in many different ways that it would take me forever to actually be able to explain to you. Okay. But there's different techniques that they've been utilizing. They have been utilizing that for many years. Okay. So there's a proof of concept where they're actually seeing it. This playbook is kind of new to the USA, really, but it is very well known abroad. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But the thing is that they realize that in order to destroy a country, you have to do it from the inside out. Okay. So you destroy a country from the inside out. I used to tell the sailors, the only thing a warship can do on its own is rust. Okay, let me say that again. The only thing a warship can do on its own is rust. It needs the people. The people, that is what it actually holds that whole thing together. You need somebody that understands how to run the different stations, how to do the preservation, how to run the system, how to run the machines, how to fuel it, how to defuel it, how to do all the shit that needs to happen, okay? And people that actually need to know what is going on, all right? So that is very important. So if you start dividing those teams and you start replacing them with people that don't know what the fuck they're doing, then guess what's going to happen? The ship is going to rust, all right? That's what's going to happen. Okay. There is a reason why there's specialties that are placed in different areas of government. That's why there's specialties that are not about loyalty. They are about skill and understanding, regardless of who's in charge. All right. In order for the things to run. All right. So as I say, this has already happened abroad. We've seen it. It's measurable. It's demonstrable. And the problem is that in some of the other countries that had happened, it is a little bit easier. Okay, so it's like a proof of concept. Why is that? Because they're small countries. Okay, so they're a little more homogeneous into the ethnicity and into the culture and even to the language and whatnot. Okay, so the USA is a lot more diverse. You know, we have a lot more languages. We have a lot more checks and balances that they have been eroded for a very long time. But that's what it's been existing, you know, for a while. And since we're very large and diverse, then that is why a lot of people who want to destroy it, that's the first thing that they're going to be attacking. Our diversity, you know, like normally calling them the woke. Okay. So woke, really what it means is that you are awake and paying attention so you don't get fucked. That is all it means. All right. Everything else, you know, that they use about the purple hairs and the gender and the CRTs or what stuff, that ain't anything about that. That is latched into that just so they can demonize it to the people who are too fucking impressionable to understand the reality. And so again, woke just means that you're paying attention and that you are not being distracted when somebody's trying to fuck in the ass. Okay. That's all it means. All right. But that is inconvenient for somebody who wants to fuck in the ass because they want you snoozed and distracted so they can do exactly that. All right. This is not hard to understand. I even fucking wrote a whole book about that, all right? So you can understand how it is actually defined. That's why a lot of people who actually talk about this, they cannot even define it. Why? Because it's bullshit, the way that they're actually using it as a catalyst for propaganda to actually try to hijack other parts in other wedge issues and to see which one of your vulnerabilities is going to actually pretty much be the catalyst that turns you from a very understanding person to whatever you're doing into a fucking idiot, all right? That's how it works, all right? So understand? So the problem is because whenever you have this diversity, okay, because diversity does not mean that you have a lot of different accents and a lot of different skin colors and a lot of different cultures, okay? That's not necessarily what it means. It means that you understand what the other parts of the culture wouldn't be able to understand, okay? You shed some light into some of those blind spots. That's what that diversity does, okay? It makes you stronger. That is why the USA is so strong, because we have that understanding, that global understanding. Now, there's some people that they just want to be in their own little fucking bubble and they think, you know, that whatever, you know, like the 2,000 people fucking town knows everything that there is to know to mankind. Yeah, absolutely. And that is why they normally latch into those people, okay, to try to exacerbate those problems instead of actually tell them, hey, there's a much larger world around you, which you are part of that, and you're going to really enjoy it if you see it, and you can contribute your cool values into the rest of the world. No, they say like, no, negate everything else, you know, just like stay to your little fucking corner, okay, and don't see what else is going on in the world. Why is that? So they can control you, so they don't realize, you know, how they're actually fucking you up, okay? It is very easy. You have to understand those things, that somebody that is pushing certain narratives that are divisive is because they want to control you, and they are doing so. Okay? They don't even want you to think. They don't even want you to really understand your train of thought. It is to that point, okay? They are making sure that you are going to be super obedient into those prison rules that they set up for you. You just don't realize that you're in a prison because you're still paying a mortgage for your prison. You're still paying a car note for your prison. You're still paying for your insurance. You're still paying for all the stuff, but it is a prison. They put you into that construct so you don't understand that you're actually confined. Because what happens if you stop paying or if something happens? Well, you get fucked, right? Either you get like really, really incarcerated, in a smaller prison, or you're going to be having to be paying a lot of interest rates or whatever, is going to be the punitive measures that happen. Okay. So you see how it starts coming the things together. That's what happens. You can escape from that. That's actually what I'm teaching you here, right? So the reality is that we're all really equal, okay? There's just one race, that is the human race, all right? For anybody who actually is not aware, there were other type of humans, like humanids, that existed, like the Neanderthals and, like some other groups, that existed that went extinct. Okay. We are the only one, okay? We're what's called the Homo sapiens, okay? That means that, the thinking man, okay? That's what we are, okay? So that is our species. The color of your skin and the way that you look, it really actually was derived from where in the planet you were actually thriving as far as your ancestors. Okay, that is all where it came from. Why is that? Because of the sun actually hits in a different level of intensity depending if you're in the middle of the world or if you're like in higher latitudes. If you're in higher latitudes, you're very likely going to have a lighter skin, lighter eye colors. Why is that? Because you need to soak up as much sun of the little bit of sun that you have in order for you to pretty much be able to survive. In the other places where it gets incredibly hot and it's incredibly blazing on the sun, then you get a darker skin because then the melanin, that is what it gives the pigmentation to your skin and to your eyes and makes it a little bit darker, protects you from the rays of sun so you don't fucking get skin cancer or you don't essentially get like fucking destroyed. Okay, that is the only difference that we have. Now, culturally, as far as how we actually be moving and stuff, this is a little bit different, right? But we are the same race. That means that you can have a blood transfusion as long as it's the correct blood type from anybody, from any race. It's still going to work, okay? Because we are the same goddamn species. It's not that you fucking can have a blood transfusion with like a chimpanzee. You're fucking going to die, okay? Because we're not the same species. Even though we have genetically, we're very close together. Our DNA is the closest one. Yeah, you still fucking die, okay? And that's why we're in the same species. You can interbreed with a person that of any color, skin and complexion, and you're still going to be able to produce a baby, okay? So because we're the same species. You cannot do that with another type of primate, okay? That's not going to happen, all right? So understand that we are all human. That is what it is, okay? Some people don't fucking understand that. They think that because they have like a lighter skin color that they're superior. No, that doesn't make you superior if you think like that. That makes you fucking stupid. That's what it does. Why is that? Because that means that your ancestors just happen to be from a low northern latitude. That's all it means. That means that if you would be in the lower latitudes, you're going to fucking get skin cancer. You're fucking going to like pretty much, get destroyed. So that actually makes you now, in essence, actually weaker if you're into those situations, okay? Because you wouldn't be able to sustain that level of heat. Does that make sense? All right. So understand if you are very pragmatic as far as that, but this is the thing. Those things, they really don't matter in the great scheme of things nowadays because the human species has been able to survive and understand who is who and how we can actually work on our environment in the best possible way. All right. So hopefully that answers what people don't want you to understand. We're all equal. If you need a liver transplant, it doesn't matter what ethnicity the person is that is being the donor for the liver transplant. You'll be able to have that. If you try to put a liver from a fucking monkey, you're fucking gonna die. That's the difference, okay? So if you put, from chimpanzees, it's not gonna work. But if you put it from another human, it doesn't matter what color the skin is, you're gonna survive as long, as it's compatible, just like other things, for medicine. But hopefully that fucking makes sense, okay? Because I know some people are just fucking dense. But that is the reality, right? So the problem is that the equality also be changing because it doesn't necessarily happen now. It's more on the nose for people that actually have like different color skins, but it is a lot more complex, try to do that with people that have a very similar color skin, all right? And that's why all these problems with people who have money and people who don't have money, they actually trying to make you forget, okay? So people who have a lot of money, they want you to make you feel inferior, like you don't belong, like how dare you talk to me if I'm a person with a lot of money? How dare you being even in my mere presence? You're not supposed to even be addressing me. How dare you? If they see you that you're from a lower class, that is not what America is about. that was the difference. Okay, we were actually founded so everybody else would be able to be welcome for the merits of the work, not just because of the color of skin or whatever the place that they just happen to be born to, okay? Because some people, they were born in nobility, and that's kind of funny thing, okay? Because in the nobility period of time, they were actually incredibly weak. Why is that? Because they interbreed. They have, like this problem of incest. So they were so inbred that they're essentially, they just couldn't survive, or they had like all these medical problems, that existed because they wanted to just hold on into the power. So you see, even when you want to be an authoritarian and you might be able to live for some generations, it's never sustainable. So you need to understand that, okay? Because now there's some insanely rich folks and they're just not happy with themselves. And I know because I have met some really insanely rich people and they don't know how to play an instrument. They don't know how to like do certain things. They're actually kind of like, when you carry on some conversation with them, they're just they're fucking boring. Like they're just like, yeah, whatever. But they have a lot of money, and they, instead of actually trying to become a little bit more interesting, because you can have a lot of money, but you can buy yourself a personality. There's the difference, okay? You might be able to buy some company for a little while, but they still don't give a shit, if you live or die. But the problem is that you could still be not a affluent person and be very cool. It could be very affable, and everybody might actually be able to like you, and you might be very talented. But that's the problem, there's no shortage of very talented people who are starving. But there's some people that, as long as they have some placement and accents, they make like fucking something that is like some shitty ass whatever expression of art that is in the right environment, they become multimillionaires. So guess what? That is some of the reality based onto this perception of who belongs or who doesn't belong. So the problem is that a lot of these people, they want to make everybody else miserable because they're miserable. They figure out that even if they make so much money and they have all this wealth, it doesn't make them whole because they haven't been able to accomplish certain things that they would be able to accomplish. For example, let's say if you're an extremely rich person, okay, you're a multimillionaire and you want to learn to play the guitar. They have no fucking talent, or you just don't know. Okay, you can probably buy the most expensive fucking instrument that you can afford. Okay, like get one of those Martins, like $100,000. Like they have like the fucking you've seen, like the Martin, like the most expensive one. Actually have like it comes with a watch, and looks kind of like a timepiece. I don't know how it sounds, but anyways, you would be technically able to afford that guitar. Okay, the most expensive guitar nobody else can afford, but you wouldn't be able to play it unless you actually put the time and effort to do so. Does that make sense? Because you can buy the instrument, but you cannot buy the talent or the experience that it takes you to build that talent. Understand? Okay. So whenever they get to confuse that and they realize that they cannot actually buy that experience, they cannot buy the talent, and they start, getting those analogs, and they see somebody else that is actually having a good time without needing all that money, they are actually jealous of those people, which is insane. But for some people that don't have any money, they're like, why would you be jealous of me? But it's the reality. You just don't realize it sometimes, but that's why, they just want to hoard more and more, to see if they can actually feel that void. All right. And by the way, that doesn't mean all the rich folks are absolute assholes, okay? Because that's not true, okay? It's not an all everybody else. There's a fuck ton of them, yeah? And I know because I've met a lot before throughout my 4+ decades that I've been alive, okay? So I know that there are some that are really super nice people that actually they do care about other people, but there's a whole bunch, that they're just really fucking shallow. But they were able to make a lot of money, and a lot of times, sadly, they make that money by cheating. That is the problem. When you win by cheating, you've lost. Cheating, in order to win, makes you a loser. In other words, it's a de facto loss, okay? Because unless you earn it, then you haven't really won, okay? So let's say, for example, let's go back, to the example of the guitar, okay? Let's say that you just pay off to buy like the judges for a battle of the bands, and your song and your band sucks. Okay, and yeah, sounds like shit. And the other band that they were really good, they didn't win because they just couldn't bribe the judges. Did you really win? No, you didn't, because you have to actually pay to be better than them in paper, but you were never better than them. They were better than you. The difference is that you had the money to probably put something on your wall or for you to get, whatever fucking accolades, okay? If you buy the fucking trophy, you didn't earn it. that is the point, right? If you buy the medal, then you didn't fucking earn it. That is the thing, what is the merit that you actually got to do that, okay? So you have to really realize, what is it that you're actually really winning or you're not actually winning, right? So they are not winning if they cheated, all right? So for a certain group, though, the problem is not even about winning, but it's about keeping the others that they could win or that they have even more merit subservient to them, okay? So, for example, if you ever seen, some people that they make some type of dinner or something stuff, to have other people that they're considered lesser than them, just to feel better about themselves, and they make this banquet or something. Okay, they might sit with you for a little bit, okay, in this table, in this thing, okay, with there's cameras and stuff over there. Let's see if they let you go to their house, like knock on the door and say, hey, let's hang out, let's have dinner. Or you even tell them, okay, come to my house, and we'll make barbecue. Yeah, they're going to tell you, yeah, no, that's not going to happen, okay? They're probably going to tell you how many ways you can go fuck yourself. That is likely what is going to happen, okay? So you need to understand, okay, that any exclusive setting sometimes that actually happens in some instances is mostly for the photo op, so they can actually show up to some other people that are impressionable to think, oh yeah, they're one of us. No, they're not. They don't give a fuck about you. That is the reality. They're going to fucking give you like a ride, or if they're going to say, okay, they're going to help you in some other ways. No, they don't. That's not going to happen, right? They're not going to fucking buy you dinner just because of their fucking goodness of the heart. That's not going to happen, all right? So, no, really, for the MAGA folks, okay? So you say like, well, Trump is not like that. He's a person of people. Okay, do this. Get dressed into your fucking MAGA regalia from head to toe and go to Mar-a-Lago and try to sit down in the main dining room and see if they don't fucking, kick your candy ass out of there, unless you have the $1 fucking million to pay to be into their company. Okay, because I think that is what they say. It used to be $200,000, now it's $1 million. Who knows how much fucking it is now? Okay, but I think it's a very exclusive club, and you are not invited. Even if you chant MAGA stuff over there and anything that is vulgar, like saying like Trump that bitch, or saying lock her up or anything else. Yeah, see if they let you do that. Or go and say like, oh, I want to play a golf around with Trump, being, dressing your MAGA regalia. You know what they're going to be doing? They're going to kick your ass out of that place. That's what's going to happen. Find out how much he fucking gives a shit about you. He doesn't, all right? He doesn't care about you. He tells you he does, but he also told you during the campaign trail, I only care about your vote. We have enough votes. Okay. So understand the things that when people are like in this group mentality, they think that, oh, we are all, happy. Everybody, seems to be liking each other. And whoever was wearing the most outrageous MAGA fucking cosplay, they were the hero of the day. Okay. Oh yeah, this dude, spent, like $900, into this big fucking MAGA hat and all this MAGA shit, blah, 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 Do you think he gave a shit about that? No, he didn't. But you felt good because you were the center of attention that day. Oh yeah, look at me, everybody. I'm the one that has the most outrageous fucking outfit. That it's part of this uniform that we have. They play you for a fool. Just understand, okay? And yeah, it's sad, okay? Realize, okay? They don't care if you live or die. And that's not just in the MAGA for the USA. That's in any part of the world because they have their own analogs around. And that's why they have certain business models that are designed to take whatever works for free so they can actually make it for profit. All right? So they can actually start, taking into these government run things that they say that runs less efficiently, but they take it for profit. To whom? To whoever, is on the top. Not to the regular employees, okay? To whoever is on the top, all right? So then anything that could be government run, then say, okay, we're going to make it privately owned. What they don't tell you is that the privately owned are going to be making a lot more money from the people that actually are, that are in the rest of the country. That means you. the taxpayers. Okay, a lot of times, there's anything that was government run is actually run by that. Guess who pays for that? The taxpayers. You pay it in some way. Premium dollar for something that otherwise would be free, and they make you feel like, oh yeah, it's good because I'm paying something that it's actually privatized. Like, no, you're paying more for the same thing that you would be able to get for free. All right, that's the thing. Okay, so for example, okay, so this healthcare insurance. Okay, the model is very simple. People pay for the insurance. So in case they need it for the medical care, then the medical insurance is going to give them the medicine or the care that they need. That's what it is, okay? But it's so very inflated that it is also make it very good for the insurance companies to overcharge whoever, is anybody else, like the hospitals or anybody else, is part of the same strata. And this is the interesting thing. If they don't pay you, the person who is actually having to pay the premiums for this insurance, if they don't pay you back whenever you need it, guess where all that money goes? To the executives, to the CEOs, to whoever, is on top of that food chain. That's who it goes. It doesn't go to the person that needs the $2,000 in order for them to buy the medicine or whatever it is that they need, for the medical thing. No, they get those denied. But all the money goes to whoever is actually in the middle of pretty much running all the shit. Something that you didn't even need to have somebody to be running that, okay? So understand, all right? Because that is what we've been seeing. That's what sadly that's what the killing of the CEO is start making some people realize finally. Oh shit, that was going on for a long time. Yeah, yeah, for a very very fucking long time. But it has been normalized. I told you, it's like a cage that you are confined. You just are so used to it, you just don't know any better, right? But the problem is that for many out-of-touch millionaires and billionaires, they don't really understand what you're going through, okay? Or that maybe they understood at some point, if for some reason they were going from rags to riches, and they will become to be better, somehow. But a lot of them are going to be old money, they're actually born into wealth, so they don't really know, okay? And since they don't longer have to deal with that shit, okay, so they just simply don't care. And that is the reality, and I can tell you, something similar. If you're like a person in the middle class, okay, and you have your house and you have your refrigerator and you have your cars and you have, kind of like a decent lifestyle, okay, you're not a millionaire. You don't really understand what is a person who has to fucking take the bus, to be moving from A to Z, or who has to be walking at certain hours just to be able to make it on work and barely be able to feed their kids. You don't really understand that. So something similar just now transport that same level of wealth a lot higher, So obviously the difference that they're going to have less worries about what happens, okay? And that's why it's so easy for somebody that is in the billionaire, millionaire class not to really give a shit about the more destitute people, because they're going to try to make some of the people that are somewhere sandwiched in the middle to thinking that is the problem, whoever is even below than that. The people that cannot actually fight, they try to make say like, oh yeah, don't look at me that I can actually spend $1 million every day, still have more money than you'll ever dream about, for the rest of my life. Look at those people who cannot even fucking afford, to feed themselves because they have 3 jobs right now, 3 full-time jobs, and they're still having a hard time to make ends meet because, they have to be paying a lot of other money to people that they have more money that they even know what to do with it. Okay. So understand that. Okay. So for example, okay, let's say, some folks, that they have tons of money. Okay. They don't know what it's like to worry. You have to, let's say now talking to a person, who's in the middle class. They don't know if you have problems paying your mortgage, if you got laid off, or if you're losing some money, or you have some emergency. Now you have to choose between actually putting food on the table for your family or make a costly repair, like putting a new AC unit, okay, that is going to set you at $10,000. And you say shit, I don't have that. And a lot of Americans, they don't even have $500 in their savings in case something happens, okay? So they don't have to worry about that because they don't worry about shit like that, okay? And they $10,000, they fucking blow it up in one time going to eat into a restaurant in just fucking alcohol that they don't even fucking finish, okay? Or they're just going to finish it up in whatever other fucking luxuries that they have. Even just fucking one of the watches probably going to be costing more than you having 3 or 4 air conditioning units that if you get your air conditioning unit that you're financing is going to be taking you probably, I don't know, fucking a year, to pay it off if you're lucky, without missing any payments and paying interest. And they just fucking throw that up in Trump signed guitar, $10,000, okay? Pouring made guitar, by the way, has a fucking decal, it's not even painted, like if you look at the pictures, for that shit. So understand, okay, that is the reality what we're actually seeing, all right? That they don't really think about your struggle. They don't understand that, you need to be able to put some gas or that you are somehow making ends meet. They see you, oh, look at these fuckers, they have an iPhone and they're complaining because like now you need to have that because it's part of fucking life, It's not like you can just have whatever, like other fucking flip phone that you used before, That is the disconnect that exists and it's highly exploitable. And a lot of people who have this low self-esteem, they think, well, I'm just a millionaire that hasn't quite make it yet. So yeah, they know something that I don't know. So I'm just, hopefully one day I'm going to be like them. Yeah, they don't want you to be like them. They don't want you anywhere near them. And even if you make the money, you're still going to be a joke for them. Okay. They're still, like they might tolerate you for a little while, but they don't want you around you. They're not going to be fucking inviting you to hang out. They'll have you for the photo ops, but that's it. You're on your own, fucking buddy. Okay. You don't mingle with the aristocracy. Okay. So understand. It doesn't matter about the money. It matters to them if you're part of the club or not. Are you a gimmick or you're part of the club? And money does not buy class either. Anyways. All right. So understand. All right. So likewise, as I say, you might not actually have an idea what it's like to worry about if you're in the middle class, about what it's like to buy a temporary crew for a yacht, okay, like one of those mega yachts, because it's the thing. Yeah, for all those multimillionaires that they own yachts, they cannot just drive the shit themselves. Even if they can, okay, or they know about seamanship, they cannot really do that. They need a crew, okay, because those things, they need a lot of people, to be maintained and to be run and to have somebody in the engineering plant and somebody else at the helm and somebody, pulling lines and all the shit, okay. So you need a crew for that. You don't have any idea how much that costs or how much, that would be, if they just want to fucking go for, I don't know, like a weekend somewhere else, like from pulling the yacht from their property to whatever the fuck is that they're going, all right? The things that even the fuel alone for that leisure trip probably costs more than what you'll see in a lifetime, even if you're working 70 plus hours a week. And now it's the same group of people who Trump is actually putting in office as his acolytes so they can get a little more from you. They're cutting Social Security. They're cutting the benefits. They're cutting Medicare. They're cutting all those things that you're hoping, is going to help you make those ends meet because it's already fucking really expensive, everything else that you're doing. So they can probably put maybe a little bit more fuel onto the fucking yacht that they will never, by the way, invite you because a lot of those yachts, they probably even have only space for 24 people because they're exclusive. So you're not going to be one of those 24 people. Don't even fucking dream about that, okay? They don't care about you. But you can actually do something for your family. And we'll continue talking about that. Okay, so understand, all right? Because, the wealth disparity, it is staggering. And you don't understand the amount of money that some people have. Especially even if you're rich, okay? And say, hey, I have my Cybertruck, it's 100 grand, and, I have this and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's nothing. You don't fucking understand, like the amount of money that these people have. When we're talking about billions of dollars, you don't fucking understand, like the amount of money, the level that they actually see even the world. You are like pretty much, I don't know, like they see your Cybertruck as like any person that is buying, I don't know, like something in a high level shopping like grocery store, like, let's say, if you go always to Whole Foods or Harris Teeter, is like if you're fucking buying your groceries in the Dollar Tree, okay? That's how they see you, even if you have fucking money for the Dollar Tree. They want you to feel that you have more than the other people, okay? That is what it is, because then they get your concurrence, they get your obedience, and they say, oh, maybe one day I'm going to be like that. No, you're not. They don't want you to be there. They are sabotaging you exactly so you don't get to that point, all right? But, the problem is that they make the little people feel special because now they're going to be talking to you to make you feel special. Okay, they're going to be getting into these like other places. Okay, so you give them money, by the way. Okay, because a lot of these places also you have to pay to play. Okay, so you go to that place. Yeah, they're going to be talking to me, but either I have to take time off, from work or something that I should be doing, and maybe even if it's a rally, but if I'm going to a rally, I also have to spend something at least, the merchandise. I'm not going to be showing up, like without wearing like at least a MAGA hat that costs $45 or some shit, that is going to be, creating some type of sense of belonging into the shit. So I understand it's a group thinking. They are fucking with your mind, and you're falling into that because you think that you're part of them. You're not. They don't care about that. They just wanted you vote. They got that. That is how it works. Okay. But you also got to remember, okay, they make you feel special in those little moments for the photo plays, whenever, get to, even if you take a fucking selfie, with these people. So they can have you pay for the lifestyle. You pay for the lifestyle. That's what happens, okay? They're not paying that for you. Are they actually giving you any money, whenever, fucking have like a selfie or anything else, when they're doing anything? No, chances are that you actually have to pay for that, it's a dinner, I have a dinner, to go with Trump into all this fucking banquet. Yeah, how much does the fucking plate cost? Did Trump pay for you to be enjoying your company? No, you have to pay, to quote unquote enjoy his company, to listen to whatever the thing is that he's doing. Okay, that's what is happening. Okay, it's transactional against you. By the way, MAGA, you are the cash cow. You are the cash cow. Nobody fucking buys this MAGA shit unless they're actually buying placement and access for Trump. And some of the shit that you cannot pay for, like those $100,000 watches, that is so an oligarch can actually buy the shit, and then they have the receipt to say, "Hey, Trump, I bought your shit over here. Okay, so let's chat about what I want." I understand. You are not invited to a club. You are not invited to a club. They are invited to a club. And if you want an example, well, give me an example. Hedge fund manager, the dude that Trump actually selected for his appointment to Secretary of the Navy, a dude who has never served in office in any capacity, let alone the military, let alone the Navy. He has never been in the Navy. And now he's going to be the Secretary of the Navy for the largest naval force in the fucking planet. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you going to tell me that there were not like millions of other MAGA people, that they were actual veterans that actually had a lot of experience, and probably at least 1 million or more that they were actually in the Navy at fucking some time? Or was he just getting loyalists? Take all the one that you need on that, okay? Understand? Because that means that you were not in the club. You were just a voter. They just wanted you vote. They got that, okay? Now he's doing whatever the fuck he wants to be doing with you, okay? But the reality, okay, is because most of these guys, they just want the tax breaks, okay? So it's just about the tax breaks, because you pay more. It doesn't matter what you are right now, okay? If you're in the middle class or in the lower class, you pay more in taxes than anybody else. Trump, during office, the most that he paid was $700 in taxes as a quote unquote a billionaire, even while he was a sitting president. All right. Just realize $700. That's how much he paid. All right. In taxes. You probably paid a lot more than that. Okay. A lot more than Trump. You know where he actually paid a lot more money to? China. He paid a lot more tax to China than to the USA. Understand that. Let that sink in for a second. Right. But, the problem is that you have to realize, that it's mostly all these tax breaks, they make it easier than for all these people that have a lot more money that they can actually do with it, so they can actually continue moving into a certain direction, right? So, let's say, for example, the private prisons, do you know who pays for that? You do. You pay for the private prisons, okay? So, just to give you an idea, okay, like this figure, from 2015, just to give you an idea, like how crazy it is. Just imagine 2015 money, okay? The CEO of one of these private prisons, he made about $2.5 million between the salary and a whole bunch of other perks that this person was getting. $2.5 million from the taxpayers, for a private prison, which can be run for essentially by the government, at much cheaper cost, without actually having to pay some dude fucking $2.5 million, right? So understand that, all right? His salary alone was more than $800,000. His salary alone was more than I just imagine, okay? $800,000. His salary alone. How much was each one of the correctional officers getting? Oh, are you ready? At the top end, $45,000 a year. At the top end. That is the highest one, okay? That is, like if there was like the richer one. So how do you reconciliate that then the CEO gets $800,000 when the highest paid correctional officer gets only $45,000? Now, do you see now why is it that they want to actually privatize some of that shit? Okay, yeah, because some of the other shit that can actually be run for essentially for free to the taxpayers or without actually giving exorbitant amount of money to somebody else that is just getting a lot of perks, it can actually be done without having that overhead. But where does that overhead goes? To the richest people. And who pays that? You do. You pay for that, okay? So Elon Musk alone, okay? He makes billions of dollars of the taxpayers. That means you and I, okay? So we pay his fucking salaries, for most of this shit, okay? And then he invests whatever fucking way, he's doing and burning it in all the shit that is really technically illegal. We'll talk about that, okay? But he had his contracts because he was not even, when he got, for all this SpaceX, shit that he was actually doing, he didn't even have any fucking rockets yet. Okay, that's the thing. He didn't even have any rockets. And the first fucking rockets that I have that were paid by the government, by the way, they blew up until, one of those finally, was able to lift up, and they got him a lot more billions of dollars. And now we're pretty much stuck with this guy. Okay. So, that goes to him. That doesn't go to the people, to the actual rocket scientists that are actually making the fucking thing work, okay? So, yeah, it goes to him. It doesn't go to the people who are actually doing that. Now, think about that, okay? Because he's making all this money from all this, but, who is actually benefiting from that, okay? And that is one of the things, I say, this is illegal because when Musk is also interfering with the U.S. government, saying publicly when we had this government shutdown problem here, that he was going to start paying against the primaries, against the GOP people, if they were going to be talking against or voting against this thing that he wanted to push at the last minute. Otherwise, he was going to shut down the government. Okay. This is the thing. Okay. This bill was going to give himself and people like him more money. All right. So the good news, okay, is that there were a few GOP leaders on the first round that actually broke ranks with Trump. Okay. And that also almost caused a government shutdown because then when there's no agreement, essentially, something else, needs to be actually pushed over there. So there were essentially like 3 different rounds. Okay. So the first one, Trump and Musk essentially make them say like, yeah, we had you guys have a bipartisan agreement to keep the government open. And say like, no, we're going to be essentially closing the government unless you do what I tell you. Now, Musk, he has not been elected by anybody, but who was the other motherfucker also? Ramaswamy. He was also pushing for that and say like, yeah, we're going to be doing that. Now, both of these guys, like this DOGE, this is the Department of Government Efficiency. Just understand how fucking stupid that is, okay? First up, it does not exist yet because it needs Congress in order to actually exist. A government agency needs to be started by Congress. That has not started at all. But Trump one time, he just pulled the shit out of his ass and he just put it in True Social or whatever, like just in social media and say, yeah, this agency exists and now the only thing it really exists is on Twitter, okay? That's where it exists. And now they're actually trying to legislate that and just pushing that stuff. Now, this is the thing. He cannot actually do that. So Musk, either he has to give away all the billionaire contracts that he has with the U.S. government, or he cannot run this agency. You cannot have both because the conflict of interest is against the law. So it is illegal. He cannot even do that, right? But the fact that he was actually being instrumental in having a lot of the GOP really actually starting to bend the knee, except for 37 of them, that essentially talking, well, fuck you, we're going to be doing the right thing. So then that created a second round of having another bill that was actually pushed. And they still, was not necessarily all that good, but at least it was not as bad as the one that Musk actually wanted to do that. So it still was not the greatest thing. The original bill was also not phenomenal, but it was a lot better than whatever is the one that ultimately passed. But the problem is that now the Democrats, they still, again, they have tendency to be very reactive. They got played into the end. So they actually have not to support this thing because if you shut down the government, now you have a whole bunch of other fucking problems. There's like millions of people that work in the government and a lot of other problems that even would affect Trump himself because guess what actually runs on that? The transition for him to become a fucking president. But it's the thing. Trump wanted the government to shut down while Biden was president, so he can actually blame it on Biden. But that was a problem that was actually created by the Republicans because who is actually in charge of the Republican House, Republican House? Yeah, I'm giving you the answer. Yeah. The GOP. mostly MAGA GOP, Mike Johnson, he is the one, and he start pushing this bill just essentially a couple of days before, like thousands of pages, for people to start like reading and say like, what the fuck is this thing, when they already had an agreement. And when that agreement didn't come, and there were a lot of people who actually voted against that, which was pretty much all the Democrats except for two, one lady from Florida and one from Washington State, which I don't know what the fucking problem is. I'll have to figure out, what the problem is with that. But there were 37 people from the Republican side that say like, yeah, fuck you. Yeah, we're going to be voting against whatever Mike Johnson was going to be pushing, which is what Musk wanted him, to push. So that, of course, it's creating this problem between, the GOP itself. And that is a good thing in a way, because at least we're seeing a semblance of people actually starting to show a spine. Of course, Trump is already lashing against all those Republicans that they were against that. But this is the thing, the Republicans, they have a very, very thin majority. So like, I think there's like one or two people right now. It's really, really small, because there was like the problem with North Carolina, so there's still some shit that is getting that is getting sorted out. But the bottom line is that they need the Democrats in order for this thing to actually work. But right now there's more and more Republicans that when Trump was saying, hey, you're going to be doing this thing or else, and now they call his bluff. And that's interesting, because okay, we voted against you, Trump. What the fuck are you going to do? And we need more of that. So hopefully, they actually really understanding, because this is the thing. I told you, the insider threat is either a witting insider threat or an unwitting insider threat. Trump, for better or for worse, even if you love him or you hate him, he is repeating adversarial talking points, particularly Russian talking points, verbatim. Okay, so that means that he's subordinate to Putin, even if he's too stupid to understand that. And if he's repeating those talking points and his acolytes in Congress are doing the same thing, then that is treason. They might not be realizing it, and maybe, finally the fucking epiphany is coming up to them. But they need to really hold Trump accountable. And that's what they're starting to see a little bit. Now, this bill that actually passed, yes, the government is open. Did it actually have some fucked up thing, that was actually there? Yes. Was there any other way that they can actually work it out? Well, the original bill, that would have been the correct way, to do that. But, they just keep passing, so essentially this is the third iteration of that bill. Of course, a lot of places are not really going to explain that in a nonsense way, but as I say, this podcast is more of a time capsule. So at some point you'll be able to understand what is it that we're doing. All right. So, who can stop all this crazy shit? We can. Yeah. We, Americans. Everybody else who's not in that 1% of motherfuckers, who want to have all your fucking money, whatever little money that you have, just control your thoughts and the way that you live. Yeah, we can do that. So along with Congress, you need to be talking to them. And it's all in a previous episode. You have to pester them. Now, they're probably going to tell you to fuck yourself. They're going to ignore you, or they're not going to answer, or maybe, whatever it is. Just keep trying. There's more of us than them. All right. They work for us. It's not the other way around. They get elected to work for the American people, not for the Democrats, not for the Republicans, not for the Democrats, for all Americans. Okay. So that's what they need to understand. Okay. So again, although we were at the verge of shutting down the government, at least we were able to avert that. And it's starting to show at least a little bit of people that are moving into the right direction. That's kind of like the feel good part of this episode. Okay. So it's starting to hopefully happen. We need a lot more than that. Okay. But yes, even when I was watching yesterday the vote in the House to see if they were not going to be closing, because it has to first go to the House, and it has to go to the Senate, and then have to be signed by midnight in the White House by Biden in order to become a law. All right. So anyways, there were tons of people that they were saying in the comment section, shut it down, shut it down, shut it down. These fucking idiots, they don't really understand, how this actually destroys the USA, and how it actually benefits adversarial nations. Now, chances are that a lot of those motherfuckers are actually adversaries, like trolls, because troll farms, they put all that shit. And what a troll farm also does, it's kind of like if you have a peaceful protest and then you have some asshole that is actually get paid, to start breaking windshields and start like burning shit over there, so they can frame everybody else as it's not a peaceful protest. Yeah, that happens. Okay. So that's kind of like what the trolls do, but a lot of people are too fucking dense to really understand, how that comes together. And that's why I'm explaining to you, okay, in a way that hopefully makes sense. All right. Yeah, and first off, okay, because the government employees, even if Musk and Ramaswamy, they don't fucking understand, the complexity of what they do. Obviously, they don't, because they want to like cut a lot of shit, that they don't know. They don't even understand some of their own fucking industries, obviously. They are taking care of the government employees that they would be affected during the shutdown are the people who are taking care of our critical infrastructure, and that includes our military. All right. So we need to understand that we would become a weaker nation the moment that happens. Okay. And that means that's our national security. Our stability depends on all these other programs. Now, can the U.S. government be a lot more efficient? Yeah, absolutely, it can be. Yeah, there's different ways. Okay, that can actually happen. The way that the Dutch with this Ramaswamy must want to do it is going to work. Absolutely not. And just to give you an idea, the way that they actually made money was kind of like shady in the first place. And just as about Ramaswamy, about the drugs that he was selling for Alzheimer's that they were not actually working yet. He used some interesting loopholes so he would have his hands clean. But the point is that a lot of people, they didn't get the medication neither, okay? But it was, but they had to pay for it. Yeah, and he made tons of fucking money. And for Musk, just like talk about X or Twitter, okay? So he rebranded the motherfucking thing, and it went pretty much from the time that he started to now, it has lost 80% of its value. So 80% of his value. So how fucking is that going to be more efficient if it lost 80% of its value? They want to put a government agency that when every agency has one director, they want to put two of them. Okay. So that already is not efficient if you need two for one. Okay. So that should be, goddamn, that should be an epiphany for anybody that has have a fucking brain. But apparently that is very hard, for some people to understand. Okay. But, the problem is that this is actually trying to set the stage, to see how much they can actually start getting away with, how much pushback they get. Because why they do it, okay? Well, they want to put some loyalists. And how do we know that? Well, have you read Project 2025? If you're my, I know you fucking haven't, all right? God damn it, of course you haven't. But you should fucking read so you understand, how this is actually affecting you, because that it's the type of people that Trump is putting into office, because that's what he wants to be doing, because they want to replace the people that actually know what the fuck they're doing with loyalists. I gave you an example a little while ago about a warship, okay? The warship, the only thing that can on its own is rust. Now imagine if you actually replace all those petty officers and all those officers and all the people who are in those different watch stations to control this warship, that they have the placement and access and experience and they know how to run their watch stations, and you just replace them with somebody off the street just because they like Trump. They don't know how to run the plant. They don't know how to fucking run the ship. They don't know how to navigate. They don't really understand any of that, but they're loyal to Trump. What do you think is going to happen to that fucking warship? It's probably gonna sink on the fucking harbor because they might not be able to fucking even move it around. Okay. They might not even be able to fucking turn the motherfucking thing on. All right. So that is what the problem is when you start replacing people with loyalists. Every career path in the government, it doesn't matter how senior or junior it is, it has a high level of complexity. It has a lot of different lessons learned. A lot of people, they happen to be in government for several years, and they go maybe from the military into the government jobs or anything else. Okay. Because why? Because it creates a continuity, because it creates a lot of experience. That's why we say, for example, in the Navy, like in the chief's mess, like I'm a chief, senior chief, and we have centuries of experience in our chief's mess, okay, in our group of people, like we will have a lot of experience, very diverse from different places, okay. You cannot buy that. You cannot buy that from the shelf, and it's not about loyalty. It is about what you know, what you don't know, okay? Because a lot of us, we've been in the Navy by that time at least more than 12 years, that's normally the average, for you to become a chief. So then you would have seen a lot of different things, and then you can actually bring to the group. And that way, if you have any type of blind spot, you can actually tell to all your brothers and sisters, and you say, hey, I've seen that shit before. We can do this, or we have these different safeguards. Okay. That is the difference. Okay. And when you combine that knowledge with all the people who have been doing that for a while, you got centuries, if not millennia of knowledge combined about how to actually run the country and how to actually have those checks and balances. When you replace that with loyalists, you lose all that. And who wins when we lose all that encyclopedic level of knowledge that it exists? The adversarial nations. That's who wins. So you need to understand what is the reason why I'm telling you, you need to fucking read this thing, because that's what Trump wants to do. He wants to get rid of the people that they're putting those safeguards so he can put loyalists. That was his quote unquote downfall, that he was not able to get away with a lot of crazy shit the previous time. Okay. But that is how it works. Okay. So let me give you an oversimplified example here, so people in the back that still don't understand, you can understand. Let's say that you fire a person who's the hairstylist, okay? Person, who knows how to cut hair, like a barber or whatever, okay? And you put a loyalist in that position who has never fucking done it, okay? But is very loyal, okay? So the stylist, doesn't matter, it is, like this barber, they're going to have some training, okay, like to understand, how to actually do this thing, so you can understand the different type of heads, okay, because not every head is fucking made the same, like different types of hair, like the way the fucking, there's a lot of different things, okay, so you need to understand if you're going to be doing the right job. So if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, but you're just loyal, then whoever is going to have the misfortune to be sitting in your chair is going to maybe end up with a hair fucking nicked, or they're going to fucking end up looking like a like scuffed head hodger. It's like it's not going to be correct. Okay, you understand? And this is a very mundane type of job. Okay, we're actually talking as far as like okay, you're going to be looking stupid, with a bad haircut, if that happens, all right? But it would be very important for you then to understand that there's a certain different level of skill that is required for any position, right? Because you're going to be taken for granted when you actually go in there, and sit down. Somebody's going to be cutting your hair, and it's going to be looking the way that's supposed to be looking. Okay, they were trained, and some people they love to do that, and that is great. That is what it's supposed to be doing. Okay, because people are in certain positions to do what they love, what they have a passion, what they actually supposed to be doing, and that sometimes means like speaking truth to power. And that might be, somebody that is probably going to be telling you, okay, that haircut is not going to be looking very good on you. I can suggest this or the other one. You want it that way? Okay, I'll do it for you. Okay, but I'm at least giving you a heads up. My loyalist is not going to give you the chance. But now you get what you get. You understand? All right. So, again, as I told you, the way that they put a lot of times, the way that they fuck with your mind is because how they frame the questions in a way that you're going to be feel very compelled to think that you're doing what is good for you. But they just don't want your money, okay? They already got that, okay? In some way, the other, through the tax cuts or through anything else, they throw like some scraps to you, okay? But they do that, okay? And the problem, I say, they just want your money. They're gonna get it if they haven't gotten it yet. By raising your prices, by making it more expensive to you. Because guess what? A lot of these fucking people who are controlling all the food supply in the USA and all the energy, they are in the same fucking club, and you in it. You are not part of the club. Okay, you are the one that actually has to pay for that. But remember, it's more of us. They need us in order for them to be able to do that. All right, so that's important, right? So how do you actually be able to turn this table around them is by the first thing, okay, you have to realize sometimes that you could be wrong. Okay, you could be wrong, that you could be bamboozled. That is the first thing, okay? Because you're being led to believe of a certain reality that is not real, okay? And they want your ego to take over because that way you're going to remain dumb. When they take over you, you're going to remain dumb. All right? Does that make sense? Okay. But again, if you forget everything that I've told you in this entire series, okay, and that includes this episode, I need you to remember this, okay? They want your loyalty, and the way that they get it is out of sheer misinformation, okay? They're never going to tell you the full truth, okay? They need you. You don't need them. That is the truth. You don't need them. They need you, all right? Even if it seems that they're actually paying you or they're doing that, no, they need you. If you are, I don't know, like an employee, and you don't do whatever you're supposed to be doing, okay? You say like, fuck you, and you walk away, okay? Your entire restaurant, staff walks away. What does the boss can do? Can the boss be able to fucking start, waiting all those tables and filling all those orders and cooking all those meals and doing all the inventory and doing all these other fucking positions? Nah, cannot do that, okay? Understand? They need you. You don't need them, all right? That's the difference. So you need to understand, okay? So, but they want to convince you that it's the other way around. And it might be, in some way, that they have, like this way, is contracting, like to essentially make you essentially hostage to this reality. But they need you. You don't necessarily need them, okay? If you walk away, that happens. Now, in the military, it's different, okay? So, you have a certain contract and sedition, and there's not sedition, but it's desertion, so don't do that shit, okay? If you're in the military. But in the private sector, you have like a different level. And I'm not telling you to tell your boss to go fuck themselves out, but at least understand that you actually have a lot more power than you are led to believe, okay? And the fact is that this also includes into the political level. Whenever you start actually seeing, about who you've been led to love or be enamored for some reason, and you might actually have right there your doubts about Musk and some of their acolytes. And I have spoken, to a lot of people that they say that they love Trump or that they don't like somebody else, like Kamala or whoever, that is not in Trump's orbit. And I tell them, is there anything you don't like about Trump? And just like, well, and they start, like thinking, well, I hate, like all shit that he says, and he's bravado or whatever, the stuff. They say, okay, cool, did you like that before, fell in love with that person? No? And then a lot of people, yeah, they actually didn't like it, but somehow, they became compelled to tolerate it and somehow became endearing at some point because they were seeing themselves into that, like this, he's saying a lot of crazy shit that they wouldn't say. Sadly, a lot of times it was some racist, fucked up shit, but that is different. That's why you need to be looking at yourself in the mirror, okay? Because hopefully you're going to be able to change those views and really understand where you were wrong, okay? But the problem is that whenever you see in Trump or any of the acolytes, you might actually find them off-putting. Like the way that Musk, he actually treats other people, the way that like all these Tesla Cybertruck owners, they do the mental gymnastics. Say, well, it has this problem, it has this recall, and this keeps breaking, and there's like chip over here, and the fucking steering doesn't work or whatever. It's like, God damn, that's a big fucking deal. If your steering wheel doesn't fucking steer, so that's a huge problem. But they still, they create kind of like those mental gymnastics, it's like, well, I don't like the way he talks, I don't like, the way that he actually, is like getting to my timeline or whatever, like he's doing the algorithm work just for him. So even if you don't follow him, you have to be looking at all his shit, so yeah, understand, that some people are going to be seeing, okay, yeah, that is off-putting and it bothers them. And since it bothers them, if you point it out, they fucking get viewers at you for pointing it out, which is kind of like crazy, but it actually happens, okay? So this is the reality. They're not trying to convince you necessarily that that you are wrong. They're trying to convince yourself. They're trying to convince themselves that they are not wrong, by trying to make you feel like you're wrong, to see if you change your mind. Okay, so if I can change your mind about him, then maybe I was wrong. I wasn't wrong about Trump being an asshole or Musk being an asshole, or that the whatever thing that they're doing is actually fine. Yeah, let me say that again. Okay, so yeah, whenever somebody is kind of like engaging, getting so explosive about Trump or defending them some way, they're not trying to convince you. They're trying to convince themselves that they were not wrong, because if they can quote unquote change your mind, then that vindicates them. And if they cannot do that, they might actually engage with you for a little while, like go back and forth, and that is good. Don't necessarily tell them, to go fuck themselves too much, you just kind of have to meet them at the same level, okay? Because a lot of times they're going to be assholes, and if you look like weakness in their stupid mind, they think, like they have one, okay? And that's not good for anybody else. But anyways, you just if they're engaging with you, it's because they want to convince you. They're really on the fence, and you might be very well the person that is actually going to help them go to that other point. So they actually fucking got that epiphany, because guess what? Once they do, oh my goodness, they're going to be the most starch. They're going to be relentless in now going against Trump, and we've seen that with a lot of ex-ultra magas, because they were pretty much like kissing his fucking diaper feel ass for a while. And then whenever they figure out that he was essentially cheating on them, yeah, they did not like that. So the reality, okay, is you have to realize, okay, that a lot of these people who are manipulating, they're laughing at your naive. They're laughing at your ass, okay? They see you as naive. And at least I am telling you, okay, I'm telling you to your face here that they are laughing at you. And you can find that yourself. And it's going to make you feel bad, okay? But they also want you cynical, okay? They want you cynical enough so you start fighting others and defending them. They don't need to be defended if they're not doing something that is stupid. That's the reality, okay? You don't need to defend something that is not offensive, okay? That is the reality, okay? You don't need to defend something that is correct. But they do some things that they push this envelope so much that somebody has to actually say something, and they need useful fools to actually go to battle for them. And that might very well be you. And you have been burning bridges and talking shit to people on social media and commenting on places that you have no fucking business, or have been uninvited and start, being obnoxious and an asshole. Yeah, they played you. All right. So understand. And Likely, as I say, you did. And whenever you get confronted with the reality, particularly with some people, like if you start, giving me some shit of that, I've told some people how many ways they can go fuck themselves, when they come and invite it to my timeline and start, telling me some shit. Yeah, I'm going to fucking tell you because I'm not fucking backing down. I'm going to be telling you and I'm going to fucking hit you where it hurts. And a lot of times they're going to be going with that bravado and they have all these non sequiturs and they're going to have like all this whataboutism and I'm already fucking several steps ahead of them. And when they lose, a lot of times they just fucking disappear. And I know they're probably, screaming my name in some middle of the night because it's going to give them nightmares. Well, guess what? If you're one of them, get over it. Okay? Fuck it. All right? Now, this is the thing. You have the power of fucking, people like Trump, that is, if they're fucking with you, okay? Because they are playing with your feelings. I am telling you something that they're not telling you. So I'm actually trying to help you. Even if you hate me, I don't give a fuck. Okay. I'm telling you something that is hopefully going to help you out to wake up so you can actually teach that to somebody else later on. Okay. And the first step, for you to fuck them up whenever they're fucking you up, people who are, taking advantage of you, they're exploiting your devotion and love towards them. The first step is stop giving them your devotion. It's just that fucking simple, okay? So if you are fucking enamored with Trump or with Musk or, these people and then you realize that they're fucking you up, stop giving them your devotion. That is really easy. And yes, you're going to be yo-yoing through the stages of grief, okay? You're going to be going between anger, and close to acceptance and then going back, to cynicism and anger again, whatever, that's going to happen, okay? That's normal. Yeah, you'll be fine. It'll be over, okay? You'll be bouncing as far as that, okay? How long does that take? Well, that depends on how fucking stubborn you are. Okay. So if you open your mind and you realize that you could be wrong, that's what I was telling you before. Okay. Sometimes we all can be wrong. Nobody's perfect. We all need sometimes a kick in the pants, to really understand what's going on. And if somebody does that to you and feels that blind spot, thank them because they're actually helping you see something that you were blind upon, that you didn't see it. Now you actually understand. Okay. So if you open your mind and start listening to those who are sounding the alarm, then you will get over this shit very quickly. But otherwise, it is going to be very painful. You're going to make it a lot more painful on yourself if you just keep clinging to a mistake because it's going to hurt you regardless. But it is always going to be a lot more painful unless you start breaking free. Okay, so that's what you need to be doing. And then you're actually going to feel a lot better. Okay. You're actually going to see the things from a much better perspective. You're going to be stronger on the other side. But that is a decision you have to take. Nobody can take that decision for you. You have to do that yourself. So yeah, just open your mind. Okay. All the answers are outside your echo chamber. I made this podcast series. I'm not even fucking monetizing it. Okay. I'm not doing that. I'm doing this for you. Okay. I'm taking time off my days to tell you these things so you have this information. There's a lot of other shit that I could be doing. I'm doing this for you. Okay. I have a lot of other shit that I could be doing. But I'm being real with you guys. I have a lot of other shit that I would rather be doing. But I'm doing this for you. So it has to be said because it is time sensitive and nobody else telling you this thing. And a lot of people are just fucking talking into a corner. Even some of the independent media that are well-intentioned, they're still fucking talking to a corner. So that's why I'm giving you this information. I'm taking my time to tell you without any time limits. And if you need to stop these things for a little bit, and assimilate, that's fine. Okay. I don't give a shit. I need to tell you these things. And this is the best way that I can actually do it. All right. Because mathematically, I would have this conversation with you one-on-one, but that is not possible. All right. And you have to understand, okay, that you need to open your mind because you could be the wrong person or you could be in the wrong side, even if you are the correct one. Okay. And I know this is going to sound like a fucking contradiction. Like, what do you mean? Okay. Well, this is why. Okay. Because the adversary has already laid out a trap for the people that are going to be trying to do the right thing. Okay. And they want us to fight one another. Okay. So if you find yourself, if you are non-MAGA and you're telling all the MAGAs, to fuck you and blah, 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 and not even trying to engage or try, to help them out in any ways, then you made the adversary's day. You just fell into the trap, right? If you are negating them, even a conversation, if you're negating them, even to try to hear what's going on, you're already lost. Okay. It doesn't matter that that they're not going to pay attention to what you're actually trying to say. It doesn't matter that it's going to be kind of like talking to a wall. The reason why they gravitate into MAGA is because they feel disenfranchised and they feel that nobody else is listening, that all those liberals are too fucking up their ass, and they just don't want to have any conversation, that all those Rhinos, they are condescending to them, whatever stuff. Okay. And that they don't have a home where to gravitate. So even if they want to escape, they don't have anywhere else to go. So the only place that they can go is back to the echo chamber. The adversary, they put those things in order for you to gravitate back to that. Okay. That is why I'm telling you these things. So you understand, right? So there's going to be traps. And even if you're correct, you still have to be very careful not to make it easier on the adversary, because the adversary is always several steps ahead, even if you haven't realized it, all right? And a lot of the independent media, they have not realized it. They keep falling into the fucking trap over and over and over again. And I reach out to them, these motherfuckers, they never answer. Well, whatever, that is what it's going to be. And at least I can sleep at night saying that, okay, I put information in any way that I could, in any platform that I could. If they don't listen, well, I did what I could. So that is the problem, okay? The problem is that an adversary can only win if you give them permission. Somebody can only hurt you if they give them permission, okay? So, for example, somebody insults you and they call you stupid, but you don't feel stupid because you are actually correct. It's not going to hurt your feelings, okay? It's like if a stupid person calls you stupid, is that going to hurt my feelings? No, they're fucking stupid. They don't even probably get it, okay? I'm not going to lose any sleep on them. Now, I can actually call them fucking stupid and I can actually point it out and they're stupid, and that is going to hurt them because they're going to know that it actually hurts them. Even if they want to say on the chat or they want to say in whatever stuff, try to act with Vox bravado. No, it hurt them. And you can tell because there's going to be some telltale signs of how they're actually going to react onto that when it hurts. So that is a different lesson. We're not necessarily going to that, okay? But that is something that you have to understand, okay? You don't let somebody hurt you, okay? Or you don't give somebody permission to get away with something that they want to get away. If you can stop it, okay? You have to understand this strategy, all right? And the best way for you to do that is contact your representatives, okay? Your elected representatives. They're supposed to represent you and support them if they need your help to dissent with Trump, with all this shit that is actually working against that. Remember, he does not work for you. Trump is not working for you right now. He is subordinate to Putin for whatever reason. I mean, he's too fucking dumb to understand that, and his acolytes are following suit. So he needs to remember that Trump, he actually is supposed to work for you, for the American people, all right? And this is the thing, like it or not, the pages of American history are being written right now. They're always being written, but especially right now, it's very contentious, okay? And you can be part of the solution or you can remain as part of the problem, okay? So, or you remain as part of the problem. Which one do you want to be, okay? The solution is very simple. You choose America because Trump and his acolytes have already chosen Putin, even if they're too dumb to realize it, okay? So just choose America. Choose about what makes America already great, okay? Which is our diversity, our strengths, our checks and balances, holding anybody accountable, even if you love them and you're enamored with them, okay? So if you're enamored with them, okay? So just like you would hold your children, okay, accountable if they do something bad, and you're trying to discipline them and make them better for that instead of just becoming an enabler of bad behavior that is just going to make them fall into the same into the same problem over and over again without actually fixing the bad behavior, okay? So that's what you need to be doing, okay? Same thing with these people who you've elected. MAGA, you voted for this, okay? You own this fucking problem. You cannot blame it to the libs. You cannot blame it to the Rhinos. You cannot blame it to the fucking non-MAGA. You started this shit. You own this fucking problem. Now, you have a seat at the table with anybody else that's actually trying to teach you something because the information exists. It existed before you were supposed to fucking vote it. That's why I keep asking you, did you read Project 2025? And of course you fucking did it. Did you actually listen to anything else other than your fucking right-wing little fucking bubbles and whatever bullshit that tells you that everybody else that's actually trying to save you is wrong? Of course you didn't. But that is why this information exists for you. So hopefully now you're actually fucking paying attention. Yeah, and for anybody else that is able to snip whatever I'm saying, in some ways that's going to be more digestible to help out. That's why I do that, okay? I don't do this for myself. I know already this shit. I'm taking the time to give you all this information in the best way that I can. I just don't fucking have time to make like a fucking million videos, okay? So that's like what I put it the way that I put it, all right? And yes, I've been talking about this thing for a very long time. So I've written my 2 books, Authoritarianism and Propaganda, The Puppet Master Tools, and Woke and Proud, The Charlatans Inconvenient. They are both non-fiction, thought-provoking historical accounts and analysis of how propagandists have been galvanizing throughout history and how to defeat them. And you can find them, okay? Anywhere that they sell books, just go and search them, okay? I'll give you the websites here in a moment. So Same thing, I've been talking about this. If you don't want to read all that and just see it in an article form, I've been writing about this for several years as well. Go to www.halflifecrisis.com, and in the article section, you're going to be seeing a whole bunch of articles, and you get to see the timestamps. I don't worry about the fucking clickbait. I care about giving you that information and holding that historical analysis. That's what I care about. All right. And if that is too much, for you, you can also go to my other website that I also created, www.infoincontext.com, and that is a free educational resource for you to understand how authoritarians have been galvanizing power through a long time and how you can identify that, and you can use that resources. I created that for you. Okay. As I say, I know this shit. I need you to understand that because this is a team effort. All right. And with that said, the next season is going to be starting sometime 2025. So please, meanwhile, share this episode and all the season and all the stuff with everybody that you know, because all these episodes are also in sequential order. Okay, and they're in sequential order on purpose. And the problem is, guys, what we are up against is mind bending. Is mind bending. Okay, it's insane. It would make your fucking head spin. That's why all these episodes are a little bit long, okay? It's because it's just incredibly complex, and I broke it down the way that I did to try to make it as easy as possible, as palatable as possible, because I could have gone a lot more technical, or I could have just make it a lot shorter, but then a lot of the context would have not been there, okay? So I'm trying to make it in a way that hopefully it resonates with you, even if not the entire episode resonates, maybe a couple of things I want to resonate with you, all right? But that's also why I put in a sequential order, okay? And I made it very obvious so you understand, what goes where, and that is the way that is meant to be heard. If you hear any of the episodes by themselves, yes, awesome, thank you. But go back to number 1, episode 1, and just keep going up and just keep doing that. That's why I'm making the seasons only 9 episodes long, so we can put this information as fast as possible, and feel free to use anything that you need for whatever other type of material that you use to help into the same mission of defeating authoritarian propaganda, okay? Because, like it or not, this is the hand that we've been dealt. And you can either remain ignorant and hope that somebody else will come to save you. But I told you in the last episode, nobody's coming to save you, okay? And that is the wrong choice, okay? If you just decide that hopefully somebody's going to be coming up. We are part of this thing, okay? We're all in this thing, okay? And that's why choosing America is always the correct choice. But you have to beware, okay, and realize that any of those who drape themselves sometimes in an American flag, they might be the adversarial forces, just disguised as somebody that is actually destroying us, okay? And they're cynical like that, and they are despicable like that. And a lot of times, you're going to be seeing people that they hijack our American flag, our American symbols in order to divide us, all right? So, but remember, we are the United States of America, all right? And the game that is being played upon us, as I say, it's nothing new in the world. It's sort of new in the USA, okay? Probably future episodes, so we're going to talk in a little bit more about history. But in the meantime, okay, watch all these episodes because I go in detail, to really understand what is it that we are talking about, okay? All these comes together to this point for you to realize, okay, you can make the difference, starting with you. But it starts with the person that lives between your ears. And I'll finish with this example that I've been giving, okay? The USA is like a ship that it's sinking after it got struck. So somebody has been striking, so somebody hit our ship. That's the USA. It's burning and it's sinking fast. It's going to sink regardless because of the bad decisions that we've allowed to take. However, we can either tow her back into the harbor, and while she sinks, we'll be able to refloat her later, or she'll sink into the deep water and we're going to lose her forever. Those are the two choices that we have. And it seems that at least with the government shutdown, dissension from the GOP, that at least some of that towing is at least start to turn the ship around. So that is a little bit of hope, okay? That's the good part about this episode. There's a lot more that we have to do. And this is an all hands on deck. Everybody needs to be doing their part. And the first thing that you can do is understand what is the reality. You need that situational awareness. and all this series I created for you. It doesn't do me any good if I'm just talking to a wall or I'm just talking to a freaking microphone and it's just over here. Sure, that might actually be the case. Might actually be a time capsule. That's what I expected that to be. But hopefully that's not going to be the case. All right, guys. Thank you so much for your attention. And I hope to see you guys all in 2025. Meanwhile, please enjoy all the other episodes that you haven't listened to. If you haven't, or if you have, you're always welcome to listen to them more than once. All right. Share that with everybody else. This is here for you. Take care, guys.